Okay. Right, everyone, what we are looking at today is Quizziz, and it's Quizziz new features, which is the lessons feature. Okay, I really think this is one of the most useful things I've seen for distance learning. So I'm just going to present up my window that has it all in. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a brief overview of what it does and then show you how to create one from there. Okay, this should hopefully, if you've used Quizziz before, it is pretty straightforward. So this is their new lesson format. So this is my Vikings lesson 2 that I taught today. Now you've got two options when you set this. You can set it as homework. So this is asynchronous learning. So this will set it up on Google Classroom for students to do at their own pace and just flick through it as they will. The way that I've been using this is in conjunction with a Google Meet, and I've been starting a live lesson. So what a live lesson does, it will bring up the next menu for you here, which allows you to toggle on names and times and things like that, and then allows you to present. When you present, you get this screen up, which will give you a class code up in the top right-hand corner, and then allow you to get started. So if you're presenting in this view, it very much goes at your pace. You select what slide the students are on, and you flick through slides at your speed. They can't skip on, they can't go ahead. Okay, and that's the same for questions and slides. So all I've been doing is copying this link out, popping it into the Google Meet chat feature or into Google Classroom, and then they join here, and then you get your list of participants and you can start the lesson. Students can join in mid-lesson to what you're doing. So that's absolutely fine. If they turn up late, they just click on the link and it puts them in wherever you are. So what this actually is, it combines two things. It combines a quiz and it combines a presentation. Okay, the good news is that you can use any presentation that you already have, whether you've got it as a PowerPoint, whether you've got it as a Google Slides or whatever. You're going to have to upload it as a PDF anyway, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. So what I've got here is slides that I've broken down. This is just a twinkle deck about Vikings. And what this allows you to do, it allows you to add questions as you go, which is brilliant, because now this stops the thing of you just speaking for 25 minutes and delivering and then having the kids have a pop in the dark 20 questions afterwards that they can't remember. It really breaks down the system, and it really works quite well, because you just deliver a couple of slides and have a couple of questions straight away. So that information's fresh in those students' minds. There are ways as well. Andrew Mackey, I was thinking about what you said about getting some feedback from the students, and I'm just going to show you how you could do that without having them speak as well, which could be a useful feature for some people, because I know that when you leave the floor open is when it tends to go a little bit wrong sometimes with remote learning. But basically, you can just work through this. And what I do is I have this deck going, and I use Google Meet, and I add the voice with Google Meet, and we flick through this as we go. As you can see, it's set up very much the same as Quizziz. You can set time limits for each question, and you just work through till the end of the deck. Okay, so all pretty straightforward. If I go into edit, I'll show you a couple of features from this existing slide that we can use. So this is a slide deck that I've made up, and we can edit what already exists. So I'm going to show you how to make a new one in a few minutes' time. So here we go. This is my slide, and here is my deck over on the left-hand slide. So from here, you can insert new slides. So if you want to add to a presentation, you can add text, you can add bulleted text, and you can add text for the title. Bullet text allows you to reveal one bullet point at a time, whereas if you just use text or a subtitle, it's just up on there from the start. You can add media. Now, with the free version, you can add images. So you can add images or images with text. If you have the paid version, you can add in audio clips and external video links. The paid version is only £43 a year. I've just invested in that, so I'm going to see whether I think it's worth it or not. But if you want to give that a go, it is pretty cheap for what you get. So you can link in YouTube videos and then have questions to come up straight afterwards. When you add in a YouTube video, you can also crop the length of the video from the beginning and the middle. So if you've got a 20-minute video and you only want 5 minutes in the middle, you can choose to do that. And the same with audio files. So it is a very useful feature. And it also means that everyone's watching that video at the same speed. So you click on it, it clicks play, everyone's watching it at once. People haven't clicked start and waited 10 minutes until they actually start watching the video. So they're the different types of slide box you can put in. It's pretty straightforward. You can't do transitions. You can't add animations. It's all very much, here's some information, here's some questions on it. So if I just added in an example slide of some text, you have here the title. So you type over on the right, and then you can put in any other text that you want. And that is just how it will show. You can change the color with some basic colors, and you can underline or italics. Okay, so it's pretty basic formatting, but it's all there for you. I'm just going to delete that out because I don't want that in my existing slides. So the other things that you can do is you can put in questions. So here I've got a multiple choice question. What did the Vikings use to warm their homes? Central heating, a fire, or hand warmers? Over here, I've got the question and I've got my answers. At the moment, I've got it set to a multiple choice, so I can only click one answer. We can change that around there. So there are other types of questions we can add in. Here I've got a tick box question, which allows me to put more than one right answer. It's important to note here that they have to select all 3 of those correct answers for the question to be marked right. So think carefully how you're going to use that one. Because, for example, here lots of people say wood and stone, but have left off turf, and they don't get a mark for the question, even though they've got 2 out of 3. So those are for questions. You can also have a fill in the blank question. So here you can type in your answer, and then you can type in a particular answer that you want given. So the blank might be wood or plastic or stone or turf. Now here, it allows them to type that into a text box. However, please do bear in mind that this will judge their spelling. If they spell plastic wrong, then it would not give them the mark for it. Okay, so only use this if you're certain that kids are going to get that spelling right, because it might them correctly. The other one that you can have is an open-ended question where the students get the chance to type in. And because you set time limits, you could say you've got 3 minutes to type me an answer. And I'll show you how you can access those answers a little bit later, because all of this produces a spreadsheet at the end with all of your data from the quiz. So I'm just going to flick that back to checkbox, how it was. Now, there is another type that you can put in. I was only thinking about this. So this might be good for a pre-feedback option. So if you know that you're going to talk about houses next, then you might want to pre-quiz the kids. So what you could do is add in a slide, and I could add in a poll. So in here, I haven't delivered anything about houses, but without opening up the floor to verbal feedback, I might want to add in, what do you think houses were made of? And here I could put some poll options in. Okay, so these are ungraded and they won't go towards the correct response for the report. But you might want to put things like wood, plastic, and put a number of other answers and see what they think things were made of. Then give the delivery and then do that. So I just thought that might be a good way of getting ideas from the kids without actually opening up the floor to them. So just an idea there. We can allow multiple selections. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like you can let them add their own answers in, which is a shame. That would be quite useful in a poll. Okay, but I just got thinking after having a chat with someone about how you could get ideas without actually open up the floor to verbal answers. So this is my presentation. Okay, and I can do that. Now at the end of it, what it will give you, once you've finished, you'll get the chance to download the responses, and it gives you this lovely feedback form. So here I can see which questions I've got right. So for example, here I can see not many people answered this question correctly at all. as we go across, I can see that lots of people answered this one correctly. What did York used to be called? Did slightly better. Then going up and down, I can see how particular students have done. So that ranks them from first to last place. Here is where, if you've asked them to give an open answer, this is where you will see their answers. They will come in here and you can have a check in this to have a look at any written feedback they've given. So if you've given them 3 minutes to type an answer in, you can check it off here and see how they've got on and see what feedback they've given you. So how do you set one of these up? This is my Quizziz account. As I said, Quizziz accounts are free. All I'm going to do here is go create. Now, most of you should have used Quizziz before, so I'm only going to show you how to do a lesson. When I click on this, it's going to bring up the same menu that you saw for the edit. First of all, I'm going to need to put in a title. So test Prez. Oh. There we go. History. Next. And then this will open up the same edit menu that I got before. It will give me my options of what I want to do. So what I'm going to show you now is how you're going to add that previous deck of slides that you already have. Okay, so down here, first of all, I'm going to take you over. So what you're going to need to do is have your slides in a PDF format. Okay, so you need to be happy that your slides or your presentation is finished. All right, because you can't then edit it later down the line. Okay, here's my deck of slides from this Twinkle Vikings format. I'm just going to go File, Download, PDF. And then that will save this deck of slides as a PDF for me in Google Drive. Once that's finished, I can pop back into my Quizziz. And it's going to take its time because I'm recording and casting. There we go, download complete. And down the bottom here, I'm going to go to Import Slides. So here I've got, as you see, if I click on Google Slides, it will tell me to download it as a PDF. If I click on PowerPoint, it will tell me to download it as a PDF. If I click on PDF, it will give me the option to open up my Google Drive and select the PDF that I wish to import. There we go. So once this loads up, I'm going to select my PDF. And then when it loads, it will also give me the option to select slides from that PDF. So if you know that you didn't want some of them, so if you've made, say, a high-level deck of slides and you want to leave some out at this point because you're setting it up for a lower level, then you can do. So there's my PDF on the Viking presentation on Viking Raiders. I'll click Open. And it will load up here. So it's just converting it from the PDF. Once this is converted, you can see you've got tick boxes. So you can just tick on and off whether you want to import the slides from that deck or not. And then once you've finished, you just click Import. And that will import all of those slides as just tiles. So you won't be able to edit anything that's on them, but you will have them as slides that exist in your presentation. And from there, you can add in questions. So it's just going to take a second because my computer's trying to do a lot all at the same time. If you do have any questions, feel free to pop them up in the chat as well so I can just answer them. Because if you're thinking it, odds are everyone else is as well. So here, for example, if I wanted to unselect that slide because I know that I didn't want it, all I'd have to do is click on it and it will go out of my deck. There we go. So I've decided I didn't want those two. I want the rest. I click Import and it will bring those in for me. There we go. Now, it normally doesn't take this long. It's just because I'm using a Meet to cast and record at the same time. So it's really slowing the whole thing down. Let's just have a look at a couple of those questions. Yep, you can delete slide out once they're in there. Once you've imported, all you've got to do is click on the slide and press the little trash button down at the bottom. No, you don't have to keep them in the order. It is now as simple as once they're in there, you can just drag them around and put them in any order that you want to. Okay, if you want to then put in some questions, you just have to click on one, add. So I'm going to ask a multiple choice question here, and it will pop it in below the slide that I've clicked on. But again, with the questions, you can just move them around however you want. There we go. So then all you need to do is click and it automatically saves. On here, if I wanted to then move that question, I can just click it and drag it to wherever I want it to. So it's really nice and simple to use there. Right. That is all the major functions. Once you're finished, you can either press backwards and it will save your draft, or you can press publish to publish it to the internet. At that point, you get your options of whether you want to keep it to yourself or whether you want to share it publicly. I tend to share everything publicly in case anyone else needs them. And then that will just be saved in your library within Quizziz. There we go. So that's my test Prezi. And then if I wanted to, I can click on that and then I can go into it. I could set it as homework, set it as a live test, or I can go in and edit it as much as I like. You can make duplicates. So if you've got one, you can then duplicate that quiz and you've got to complete it before you can do that. So I can't show you. There'll be an option there for duplicate, and then you can duplicate it and edit it. So you've got two versions. One you might want to make higher or lower than the other one. Okay. So that is how you make your Quizziz lessons. I really think I've used these 4 or 5 times now, and I've used them with every group in the school, and they've gone pretty well in every group. It does keep students engaged. It makes it a lot easier to keep, if you do open up the floor for questions, to keep that really contained, because then you're moving on, bump, bump, question, question, input, input, question, question. It keeps the rhythm of the lesson going. Okay, I'll let you know how it gets on with adding videos. I'm going to try one of those tomorrow with some videos in it and see how that goes. One thing I will say is if you are presenting at the same time, so if you're using Google Meet to do your voice and using this at the same time, it does tend to get a bit laggy your end. But I've talked with TAs in the room and they've said that it's not laggy at all at their end. So the kids are absolutely fine, but it does tend, like sometimes there's a countdown into the questions that goes 3, 2, 1, and it will be halfway through counting down the question by the time you're in the question, which can be a little bit irritating, but really not the end of the world. Okay, so it's just a warning, although, because I really panicked the first time I was doing it, because I thought the kids would all be disengaging, but they're not. It looked absolutely fine on their end. They just had to wait for me a couple of times. Okay. Right. I'm going to stop recording. I hope that answered any questions. If you've got any more, please feel free to send me an email. Feel free to like the YouTube channel, share the YouTube channel, do everything you like. This will be up on the Connect page. If anyone needs to ask me any questions, feel free to ping me over an email, peter.reeves@aberdeenhouseschool.co.uk.